what's this summit that's happening in Northern Ireland?
So it is a trauma summit, and it's an international one. It is being hosted by Action Trauma, who are based in Belfast. The Action Trauma organisation have developed this summit to bring together as many people as they possibly can from across the world to speak over 2 days. And this one is a hybrid version. So we have an in-person, I have an exhibitor stand at it, but I also have a virtual stand.
Okay, so what we're trying to work out is how we go from Michelle, people being able to see Michelle in person and in the virtual booth, to eventually buying a £2,400 program. How much is it? $23.90 or something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, you worked that out for me. I didn't work out that price.
Oh, right.
I would have been selling it for about £30 probably. So.
Yeah, I know. This is what I do for people. It's like, no, slap, no, virtual slap. That's not going to happen.
Yes, what it is a six module training program, which will have CPD accreditation, which matters a lot.
Which is great.
That for people in organizations who have a certain requirement each year means their employers might be prepared to pay. For individuals who have their own private practices, it's another badge to add to something to say I've got accredited training.
That's really good. So what we need to do is, for anybody who's doing this kind of marketing of selling something that's, a significant price of over £2,000, you can't ask people who've just met you to pay you £2,000, because almost nobody's going to do that. Probably nobody. So what you need to do is you need to give them opportunities to get to know, like, and trust you before they do make any kind of commitment. So we need to kind of give them in between things they can do to get to know Michelle and her work. And so we were talking about, I think the funnel as we're currently conceiving is, at the beginning is you on your physical stand, on your virtual stand. The end is the £2,400 program. And then the step after they've just met you, not having paid you any money or anything, not having really made any commitment, I think we said that the best thing for you to do would be to do a free virtual introduction, was it? Like a week later. So you can say, like, next week I'm doing this introduction to Kintsugi healing. Sign up here. It's free of charge. And by the way, you will get the recording. So sometimes there's reasons when you're doing this to give the recording, and sometimes you're not. So if you want the maximum number of people to just be on your email list, which is the most important thing for Michelle right now, because she's not got a big email list, then you want to say, look, you can sign up even if you can't make it, because then you'll get the recording. If you want to only have people there who are most likely to buy something afterwards, you want to encourage people to attend live, because people almost never, first of all, they never watch the recording. The number of people, it's why I've got this kind of mug that says yes. The number of people that say, is there a replay? Is there a recording? And you go, yes. I mean, never freaking watch it. And I'm just as bad. So I register for webinars. I never bloody watch them. And if I do, the chances of me going from a recording into like buying something is very low. Whereas if I'm live and I'm talking to you, there's just a much higher chance that I'm going to get, you're saying, hey, if you buy tonight, I'll get a bonus or something. So for that reason, but for you, because we're trying to maximize signups rather than maximize action at this early stage, because you've got people who've made no commitment to you at the summit, and then we want to make them we need to give them the smallest possible commitment. So we're not going to charge them money, and we're not even going to demand that they turn up live, because otherwise, if we say it's next Tuesday and they go, I'm not free at Tuesday, they'll walk away and they won't give you their email address. Now, the fact is, if you get their email address and you're emailing them every week, and I hope you're emailing your list every week, Michelle.
I will be. I will be soon. At the minute, I have to be at this point in time.
On the wrist for anyone who's not emailing their list every week, or at least every other week. I mean,
it's definitely currently just due to demands.
Yeah.
I will increase it.
But if you're emailing them every week, even if they don't buy the next thing, they're on your list now. And it's much better to have a bunch of people who are clearly interested on your list, because they might. But I had a guy meet me really early on in my career and buy a course 14 years later, literally. I mean, it was just insane. I think that was the number. Yeah, 2005, I think he met me, or something like that. So, and he's been on my list ever since, and he eventually paid me, I can't remember, it was 1,500 quid or something. So it's really valuable to have people in your orbit. So that's what we're trying to do. So if you're going to do a free session the next week, what you need to do is think about what is that free session. Do you know what you cover in it? Because this is going to be more like a teachy thing rather than an experiential workshop, because what we're going to do from this free thing is sell them onto a 3-hour proper workshop. Yeah. So in this free thing, first of all, what do you want to cover with them?
So I have already run some of these, which would be the taster sessions that I have. That's what they've been called. There is also actually an opportunity during the 2 days to deliver something like that during it. So I can plan that in ahead of time. That people won't see the exhibitor stand until next week, but I can plan in a time during that's virtual. Anybody, whether they're in the conference or not, can sign up to that. That's now public.
Brilliant. So what you need then is a way of taking their name and email, at least their first name and email, but ideally it depends. The problem is if you ask people to write it down, and I've done this in the past, I built the first part of my email list from doing live workshops with 20, 30 people in the room and handing somebody else's workshop. I presented there and I handed around a clipboard with a name and email. And at the top, I would write, please write clearly. People did not write clearly. What people's idea of clear is just like, no human can read that. What are you even thinking here? So you'd lose 10 to 20% of the names, 10 to 15%. And you just couldn't work out what people count for it. Like when you're writing an email, write it so it's legible, obviously. So that's the frustration you're losing. I mean, it's not a bad solution. Otherwise, you can sit there with something like an iPad or whatever, and you can get them to input it on the spot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think is going to be most practical for you?
I think, to be perfectly honest, a combination of both. I think having a clipboard and a sheet sitting there for people to sign who want to do it that way. Yeah. And there will be somebody there because I can bring someone with me for that. So there'll be somebody at the stand who can actually make sure it is legible.
Yeah. And then, so they want to kind of read about and go, is that an A or an E? And you go,
yeah. And having an iPad version of that means that I can have that live already via my site. So I can just open the link and they can put in their details there and then they're automatically registered.
Now there is a potential problem, because while you can use your own sign-up form, I discovered this by accident a long time ago. You can use your own sign-up form on your website for people to enter.
Yeah.
But the danger is that they have spam detection built in. And what I discovered once, and I assume this is still the case, if you try to enter too many names and emails that are different on the same form on your page, it will throw a fit and go, I'm sorry, you can't do that anymore. You're obviously a spammer, because what kind of human would want to do that?
Okay, that's helpful.
So I don't know what the solution is. You might have to kind of think about, you might even want to ask MailChimp, whoever it is you said. How many people have you got on your list at the moment?
Oh, not a lot. I think we're coming up to 50 now, but I haven't done anything to get to that.
Now, what you'll need to do then is you should set up a little kind of automatic reply before you get to the event.
Yeah.
And you make sure that it sends them an email immediately saying, hey, thanks so much for registering for the whatever you've called it event. And you always want to be selling, right? Everything you send people is sales. By that, I don't mean like buy. I mean, you've got to make everything sound like you don't want to miss it, because they don't want to miss it. They should be going, right? It's going to be really interesting. So you want to say, hey, thanks so much for signing up. Really looking forward to showing you the Kintsugi healing approach I developed over the past 30 years. Or something like that, But you have effectively everything you've done in your life up to this point is informed in it. And you'll get to experience the power of this brand new approach. I would just say something like that. But I don't think that's particularly overblown. And then and you say, here's how to take part. Here's the Zoom link if you're doing it on Zoom, and we're going live at 7, or send you a reminder just before. That's it, basically. And then you need to send them a reminder. And depending on how far away it is, I would suggest sending a reminder the day before, could be 24 hours before, and then send a reminder like 15 minutes before. And you say, and the 15 minutes before one just says, we're going live, here's a link, jump in and join us. And it should be a really short email, that one. Because what happens is everyone forgets. Very few people are organized enough or committed enough that they're going to put it in their diary and put the URL in. They'll be hunting around for the email. Even if you send one the day before, they'll be hunting around for it. Instead, you just hit with an email. They go, oh yeah, that thing. I might actually do that because I'm about to have I'll do it while I'm, watch it while I'm having dinner. So that's in order to get people to turn up. But you're going to ask something.
I was going to say, because that's one of the shifts that I have to make, because I have got an automated reply there for anyone who does register right now for anything. The challenge is that I haven't got anything automated after that, so it's entirely manual at the minute. And I'm saying this because I'm putting my hands up here to anyone who might be in this group, who might be listening, who might have signed up for something and maybe had to wait a week before I actually got back to them. Which is,
but why is that? Because MailJet can do that.
They will have got an automatic reply, but it then says I will be in touch with more details, and then the getting in touch isn't automated, so that's a manual thing.
So what we're talking about here, and by the way, if anyone's got questions as we go along, do stick them in the chat, and I'll aim to answer them. I might answer them at the end, or if they're quick ones, I can answer them as we go along. What we need to do is we need to create a landing page on your website, and that just means a dedicated page that its only purpose is to get people to register for the free event. And then and when they register, they put their name and email in there. It should do something different inside MailJet.
Yeah, it does. So if you look now at the website, there is a page like that now. So it does automatically do it. It's the follow-up automations that aren't there. So the immediate response by MailJet is there, and they will have an immediate
You
reply.
can set up those follow-up automations, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. When I have enough hours in the day.
Well, I mean, you could
shifting into things that I have not had to do in organization.
Well, I mean, so my suggestion is, if Alan here, who's in the chat, he says linking a form to a landing page they can sign up on, which goes straight into your autoresponder. I could probably put something together if I fully understand my need. Anyway, Alan's one of my clients as well. I think I think you might want to, maybe Alan will give you a cheap price just as a mate rate or something, because you're both clients, and just set this little thing up for you quickly.
A bit more money though, not less money. So Alan might want to put it to me cheap if you've spoken to him harshly enough.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem. You want to get in there soon. We've only had one session so far. By the end of it, he'll be charging 2,000 quid for everything. So he might do you a favor and do this at a reasonable cost and just set it up for you. There are people who can do little bits of work for this. I don't know. He might not be. He might be aiming at different things. He says cheap. Anyway, it's a conflict of interest in me now. But I think it's worth. You definitely want to get that set up, and you want to get a landing page set